Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? In the fairy tale of Snow White, the evil queen used a talking magical mirror to reveal to her the truth of her beauty. And when she learned of her imperfection compared to that of Snow White, she actioned an elaborate plot to kill Snow White, which in the end unraveled and eventually led to the queen's demise. So, as fallible humans, we often revel in comparisons. It's part of our psychology. We so easily compare ourselves with others, the jobs they have, the money they make, how many friends they have, both real and on Facebook, how well they sing, how well behaved or intelligent their kids are, even their relationship to God sometimes. And the first comparison, in fact, was in the Garden of Eden when Eve was told by Satan that she could be like God. And she fell hook, line, and sinker for this lie. Now, the tale of the queen and the mirror is a great illustration of the dangers of comparison and what evolves as the ultimate outcome, as we see as the queen's demise. So there's always going to be a Snow White. There's always going to be someone else that is better than us or has more than us, someone to compare ourselves with. And ultimately, the pitfall of comparison is being so caught up in the comparison with others that we lose sight of ourselves and our own inherent value. So when it comes to spiritual matters as well, our response is either one of pride, when we feel better than our neighbor, or despair when we feel inferior and that we just can't compete. It's like the Pharisee who compared himself with the wretched tax collector, claiming to be religiously superior, or the rich man that in essence compared himself to God, actually, in that he claimed to be perfect and that he had obeyed all the Mosaic laws since he was a child. Now, you see, the Old Testament law was supposed to act like a mirror, reflecting God's perfection and our imperfection. The mirror, in this sense, can never be used to repair our imperfections, only to reveal them so that we may be humbled and acknowledge our need for God. See, to be perfect in God's eyes is to be morally perfect. And yet none of us can reach this expectation, since all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. As Jesus warns us in comparing ourselves with others and judging, we also need to remove the log in our own eye before comparing and offering advice on how to fix someone else. Now, the danger of comparing ourselves to others is that our comparisons are almost never fair. Each one of us is a unique individual with characteristics and life events that are unique only to us. As Jordan Peterson puts it, we are only to compare ourselves to who we were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. It's our entire life experience that makes us vastly different from those around us. And by comparing ourselves to others, we're negating our own journey and demanding that the past be different than what it was. The demands we place on ourselves to be like those we're comparing ourselves to can sometimes be motivations for us to change. But the real danger is that they're likely to lead to feelings of diminished self-worth. We need to remind ourselves that our self-worth is not based on our behavior or what we have or don't have, both in the physical, material, and as well as the spiritual sense. We've all been given our own individual personality, our own gifts, our own personal path and walk with the Lord. And remember that God shows no favoritism. You can't fit a square peg in a round hole. We need to own our individualities. And to quote the anime series Ghost in the Shell, Only when we see our uniqueness as being a virtue will we find peace. I think at the end of the day, the greatest gift given to us is that of salvation through Jesus Christ. And the remarkable thing is that it's not by our own works or good deeds that we receive this, but it's freely given to anyone, and all we have to do is believe. So we can't boast or be self-righteous about this, because it actually has nothing to do with us, but everything to do with Him.
Goodbye.